Hello boys and girls, we're going to quickly review the parts of a landscape before we make our tissue paper landscape. So this river here is in the front or closest to the viewer, so this is the foreground. Trees like this that are really big could also be considered in the foreground. Now, middle ground is in between the foreground and the background. So these trees here, the river here, that could all be the middle ground, which is in between the foreground and the background. Background, furthest away from the viewer. So that could be these trees here, or it could be the sky. So that is the background, back far away from you. We also have the horizon line, which is where the earth and the sky meet. So that's the horizon line. Follow where the earth and the sky meet. It might be trees, sometimes it might be mountains, sometimes it might be a field that meets the sky. Last but not least, we have this point here where this river seems to be disappearing to, and that is called the vanishing point. Oop, I spelled point wrong. There we go, let's fix it. So we have foreground, closest to the viewer. Middle ground, between the background and the foreground. Background, back far away. Horizon line, where the earth and the sky meet. And vanishing point, where things seem to disappear to. So what we are going to do to create your landscape is you will have some reference images to look at to draw your landscape. So here is some artwork by Wolf Kahn, who we talked about, and I am going to take that and draw my sketch. So I'm figuring out my design, what I'm going to do on here. Do I have to copy what I see on here? No, I don't. I can come up with my own design. You must have a background, a middle ground, and a foreground. So I'm going to add, maybe I'll add some trees in here, and maybe I'll have some bushes, maybe I'll add a sun. It is up to you what you're going to add into here to make your landscape have all of those things I just talked about. So it needs to have background, middle ground, horizon line, foreground, vanishing point. It needs to have all of those. So here I have my vanishing point already. I have my background with the mountains and the sun. I have my horizon line where the earth and the sky meet. And I could use my river as my foreground, but this is the bare bones of what I should have. I'm going to add some more details to make it stand out more. You should not be adding people into this. You should be adding things that you would see outdoors besides people. So you could have buildings, you could have power lines, you could have fences, you could have trees, you could have water. Don't add too many small details because it will get hard when we start adding the tissue paper. So I'm going to go ahead and finish figuring out my sketch. So I have my sketch figured out now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer my sketch onto my final copy. Don't worry about making it look perfect because we are going to be putting tissue paper over this, so just draw the outlines of what you just drew. And don't really go in and add too many details. For example, don't add like leaves on the trees or something like that. You're just going to draw the outlines of it. Another tip, when I'm drawing things in my middle ground, which are further away than my foreground, which are closer, they're not going to be the same size. If something is really close to me in a picture, it's going to be bigger. And then as it gets further away, it's going to start to look like it is getting smaller. Now, if you look outside and you see trees right in front of you, they're going to be big. But if you look at them on the mountains, they're going to be tiny. Are they really that way? No, but that's the way they look. So that's why my trees, as they go back, are looking smaller and smaller. That shows space. So I have this sketched out the way I want it to. I'm going to brush off my stuff. Oh, I forgot to do something. Write my name on the back and my class code. So let's say that I am in 3rd grade, so I'll write 3- and let's say I'm in Miss Kim's class, K. So 3-K. So I know if we lose your paper, what your name is and what grade and class you are in. Now, to do this, you are going to have glue that you're going to have to share. It's watered down glue. So be careful with it. Don't spill it. And you're going to have a paintbrush. And you're going to get tissue paper. So I'm going to start off, maybe I'll do my sky first and then start adding my sun. So I'm going to grab some blue tissue paper. You can get different shades and tints of blue. So here I have different tints and shades of blue, and I'm going to make my sky. So I'm going to take my paintbrush out of the water, and I'm going to put the glue on the paper where I want it. When you are not using your paintbrush, please put it in the water so that the glue doesn't dry on the paintbrush and ruin it. So here I'm just coating a bunch of glue in the area I want it. Don't put too much glue on there, and also don't fill in the whole entire paper with glue because it needs to be still wet when you're adding the stuff on here. So I'm going to take my tissue paper and rip it up and press it on there. If I want my sky to be different colors, what I can do is rip other pieces and add them on here. You shouldn't have a giant piece of tissue paper like this. That is not acceptable. You should rip them into smaller pieces to make them work. And I'm just going to fill in my sky here. Don't worry about if it's too big that it's going off of the edge. That's okay. I'm just going to try to follow my lines that I drew in pencil in here to make sure my sky doesn't go over my pencil lines. It's okay if it overlaps in some areas. The tissue paper, that will just add some more layering. If you notice, like here for example, my tissue paper is sticking up a little. So what I can do is once again wipe off my paintbrush, get some glue on there, and just paint over the glue so it's all staying down. Okay? So I'm going to keep working on this to show you how to do it. Okay, once you're done with one section, just try to coat over it all with glue to make sure that it's going to lay down and stick there. Try to get as close to your lines as possible. So like for example there, I look at my sun and I noticed I missed a big spot. So I'm just going to take some tissue paper and fix over that. Oh, and I missed here too, so I'm going to fix that. Now, once I'm done with one area, I'm going to move on to another. So for example here, I will move on to my sun and start layering that as well. Have fun, boys and girls, and I hope you enjoy this project.